Malaysian teams catch up to SRG. We want to see more Singaporean teams catch up to NIP Flash. And this is going to be a great place for RSG to make that happen. We're going to jump into draft phase. Alter Ego on the blue side, RSG Singapore on the red.
Let's gonna start off with the Loyi, Yves, Tusin, and Fanny Ban. 3 mid laners wiped out from the hero pool. Bat comes the Joy ban as well. Finally, this is gonna be the second game of the day that we don't have a Joy. Kosuyo is still up on the table. We got a couple of power picks. The Granger left open as well. So we'll see what RSG Singapore is gonna opt for their last ban.
It definitely does feel like, though, if Joy is already banned out, Suyo is a very obvious power pick for you to go for, right? Think of RSG Singapore have the opportunity to ban it out, but then you'll have things like the Granger to worry about. But maybe a little bit more manageable since the Eve was already banned out. In fact, if Alter Ego is specifically focusing on this hero, they might even want to go for something like the Harif. But since Granger was banned, more likely it's gonna be Suyo.
Yeah. So this one is pretty straightforward, kind of a no-brainer over for Alter Ego. That means RSG Singapore, you have sort of like the high loss. You have Cho, Gatot, Phobius, still some options left on the table for sure. See what they want to go for. I mean, Singapore as a region, we know that every single team sort of has their own cheese pick in a sense. So I wonder if that is going to be the case for RSG.
I was like, when you bring up cheese picks, it just makes me really want to watch Diablo play again, because like some of his signatures have just been rough, like the Badang especially. I hope we get to see that. But let's focus on this current match for now. The Gatot and the Harif going to be taken by RSG. I think it's a pretty solid combination since you no longer have the Eve to worry about, and AOG would commonly be a good counter to the Zaman Force. Grabbing them together means that Harif will have a slightly easier time, but also leaves you open to the obvious counter pick.
So we get the Hilda instantly. We've seen Hilda primarily play in the XP, but I believe I've seen her roam recently. We even saw the Hilda mid thanks to Coach Boncha's innovation. But in this case, it's not going to be a Hilda mid. We got Vexana picked up for Roundel already.
Vexana hasn't actually been played throughout today here. We've been seeing a lot more priority towards more classic heroes like that Farsa, and of course the common options like Zusin and Loyi up until now. Alpha gonna also be locked in here. Since Joy is gone, this is going to be the next best option for dueling with that Suyo in the jungle.
Oh yeah, and we get to see this is one of the few classic matchups. It was kind of the what do you call it, the premier matchup before Joy was a thing, but now we get to kind of go back in time, see that Alpha picked up once more. You're looking probably go or roam bans if you're RSG Singapore. The fact that there is a Hilda makes the Alpha feel a bit better. Bruno ban to start off the second phase.
I think if you see an Alpha, you gotta think about Matilda just a little bit. The premier combo with Alpha, and yeah, Alter Ego immediately gets rid of it. It's not just good with Alpha, it can also save other members from heroes like the Hilda that want to dive at them. So we're not gonna see that. If they really wanted to tease it out, Angela is still open as an option, but I doubt it's something that Alter Ego would ban.
Let's see if they want to continue down the gold lane ban. I mean, who threatens the Harif? They have probably eliminated both of them, right? The Moskov is probably third in line. Moskov from Beatrix. Oh yeah, and the Irithel. We've seen it from Kelra twice already.
I think Irithel is just a really good universal option into most of the meta gold laners right now. Like Granger plays with range, Harif plays with mobility, and Irithel is able to match out both of those. That's why we get to see the hero a little bit more often. We'll see whether Alter Ego goes for it, because Cho and Phobius are going to be the final two bans here to finish up, and we're going to see what RSG locks in as their fourth pick.
Still missing that mid laner. Probably gonna keep this Gatot as a flex until the very end. mean, even for mid lane options, you have Farsa left, I suppose. We've got Farsa, Aurora. We've seen the Valentina once as well early on. Of course, that's courtesy of Haji.
As a snowflake.
Most of them aren't really the best. I think Farsa definitely doesn't feel very good into this. Aurora is still alright, able to somewhat deal with a rundown composition. If the Hilda runs at you, you go for the freeze. Still not the best, but it's what RSG can manage for now. And Alter Ego will get to pick up their final 2 picks. Hilda still leaning more towards EXP lane, but is perfectly capable of being flexed into the roam position. And then we'll get to see heroes like maybe CC if they think that the Gatot will be going into EXP instead.
One hero crossed my mind, but I was quite sure that RSG would not take it. It was the Xavier. I know TLID showed it during M6. One of the Yehescu pocket picks. So the Tigreal Claude would be a thing for Alter Ego. I'm pleasantly surprised that they're going down the Claude route. So big late game insurance for sure. With the buff Art of Thievery recently, so his laning becomes a bit better overall. But this is definitely not a pick I would expect from Alter Ego.
Yeah, personally, I don't actually like the Claude very much, because even like in the old classics, Harif has always been a good lane counter to Claude. He's just very oppressive. And even if you try to scale up and go for the farming, we've seen that Claude nowadays just doesn't really output as much damage as other MM options. I would have actually still liked the Irritel more, even the Lunox if they really wanted to go for it. Things like the carry are still open. I don't really like the Claude pick too much here, but hey, it can still work.
Yeah, we've seen the Lunox and the Harif. Like there was a period of time people just banned Lunox because they want Harif. I know carry into Harif was also a thing. I think Nets showed that in his matchup. We get the closer Gatot, so it will be a roam Khalid. So actually Gear is playing the roam. I've seen the earlier graphic probably had a bit of error. Either way,
yeah,
the Khalid roam, I guess, is one way to not only avoid the Hilda matchup, but also match the Hilda when needed.
Yeah, Khalid and Hilda both fulfill similar niches. It just depends on which one you prefer. In my personal opinion, I like Hilda just a little bit more, but Khalid is also pretty annoying. I doubt they're gonna invade. Suyo actually doesn't have too bad a level 1 with that Soul Sever. But now, we'll jump into the land of Dawn to witness the very first game between Alter Ego on the blue side versus RSG Singapore on the red.
Of course, that's basically spawning out where Gebe started. As with the purple buff, it's going to be that parallel jungling as Yon was on the orange buff side, with pathing towards the gold lane. Of course, if you are the Suyo, you're going to be a bit faster and you get your whole kit a level earlier than the alpha, something that most junglers would try to exploit on that Suyo. And not to mention that Dreams and Roundel are just keeping RSG Singapore pressured at every single turn. Gear is forced away. No level 2 means no sustain with the quick stun guard, so Little Wanderer for AE.
That's already pretty good here. Alter Ego is playing a very honest matchup, and Gear already forced to use Flicker. Still not gonna save him from Gebe on this Suyo. First blood for Alter Ego.
Speaking about off-tempo play, Gebe not done yet. So that's a second Flicker out. Sign from Yunski. That's going to make life tough for CS. That Crab is going to be secured by Gebe. Not sure if this Harif is going to receive help anytime soon with the current circumstances.
Yeah, Harif is going to be completely fine though. Like, RSG Singapore can definitely just leave CS in the gold lane because, again, Harif is a totally winning matchup against the Claude. They don't have to worry too much about that. So putting a bit more focus towards the EXP lane to unlock closer and get him to be more part of more team fights is way more value.
Gonna try and burst down Dreams. That's Flicker Sacred Hammer. Dreams does get away. It's a good attempt. Unfortunately, RSG Singapore not only don't get the kill, but once more they see Gebe on the map. It's all about the turtle. Big combo. Yon is gone. And unfortunately, this fight is pretty much done though. They get the taunt onto Rondell, but Closer cannot finish it off. Gear getting chased down. Nino cleaves him in half for a double kill. And Alter Ego assumes control of the objective.
Very clear example of Yon just forgetting to watch his back there. RSG Singapore was trying to distract Alter Ego's front line as well as the Suyo to try and keep him away from the turtle, but then Nino just comes in from the back, takes off the low HP Alpha, and they can no longer contest turtle at that point, right? So RSG has to be a bit more careful about their positioning there, because with a Hilda to worry about, Alter Ego has ways of messing with angles and taking advantage of an overly committed front-to-back positioning.
Oh yes, and you can see Nino, he's going to start proxying the wave. In fact, he's a level ahead of Closer. When I think about it, I mean, RSG Singapore, they have multiple means of engage. You know, they have Gear and Closer, but they're significantly behind. And in this case, against Alter Ego, Gear is dead. He's just gonna get controlled to oblivion. Dreams once more will escape.
If they had at least traded for Dreams there, it still would have been okay for RSG, but he was able to get that Sacred Hammer out right after the freeze wore off, so the Zaman Force was just not able to chase anymore. We can see that Alter Ego already operating on a faster momentum overall than RSG.
Trying to look for Nino. Get that shield from the bush. Nino is gonna go back and forth in and out the bush. Eventually will fall. Blazing Duet. Yunsky, he lost most of his health. Alter Ego continues to put on the pressure. And with Yunsky stuck bot side, that mid lane control is gone.
I like the decision from Alter Ego, right? Nino already knows that he's not going to be able to escape alive, so just buy time, keep them up top, pass the information to your team, so that Alter Ego can try to dive the tower down bottom to give Highs as much of the gold shield as possible. This already turns the gold lane around when CS should absolutely be out farming the clock.
And a Sacred Hammer implosion. Gear is gone once more. AOG misses Dreams. It's just getting away every single time.
Really good positioning. I'm liking the coordination coming out of Alter Ego right now. Very quick, very surgical strikes coming in. Pick off one person, immediately back on. Don't mind using resources to do so. Make sure it happens safely.
I'm surprised that RSG wanted to stick around for that, because now they will lose 2 more members. Turtle, of course, secured by Alter Ego, a 2.4k gold advantage, and building. In RSG Singapore, they are just locked out of their lane. Look at, I mean, CS can't even walk past its own tier 2.
And we were a little bit worried about this when it came to RSG Singapore. They definitely haven't been performing quite as well as they were known for in the past. And we can see that Alter Ego is just outperforming them on basically every single front. It is a 3k gold lead now, 5 minutes in. I think RSG have already lost a lot of the early game potential that they could have played for with Yon and Gear. Now they gotta try and scale for mid game by setting up as much funnel into CS as possible.
Interesting thing about these 2 regions is that I know a lot of people look at MPS Singapore as a region that is very focused on the basics, fundamentals, the macro, but when you look at Indonesia, if they want to fight you, they will fight you. That's something that RSG Singapore has been struggling so far. It's just these skirmishes, they are getting outclassed by Alter Ego.
You can see the gold difference really starting to build up here. Yunsky still hasn't been able to complete their first item yet. Gear as well, just sitting on that Dreadnought armor. Looks like Yon going for the War Axe build here to try and prolong the team fight. Should be quite effective against heroes like the Hilda, but Alter Ego is going in and out so quickly that he's not really able to take advantage of it.
If you get bursted, then before the War Axe stacks come online, it also becomes quite an issue. At least they keep this mid tier 1 alive, and it's not the easiest for Alter Ego to siege before Highs kind of gets the Holy Trinity. Oh, that's going to be a complete miss with the Raging Sandstorm. Even committing the Flicker for that.
Yep. I think that was just a little bit too desperate. Even if the Flicker had landed, the rest of RSG was just not close enough to actually follow up on it. Then Highs could have just BMI'd out anyway. There was no reason for him to extend that far and waste the battle spell. And see that Geve is just continuing to farm up the top lane as well on this Suyo. He is snowballing really, really hard. He hasn't really even needed to be part of the last couple team fights.
Even then, there's still the Purify on the Claude that he never had the need to use even up to this point. Top tier 2 goes down. Yon is, he's definitely sleeping on the wheel with that one. He gets taken down. Gebe gone on, Raging Sandstorm frozen in place. Everything from the kitchen sink. Finally, they shut down Gebe. RSG Singapore once more, but won't be able to find more than just one. Dreams from the back. Sacred Hammer implosion. Flickers redirects it and finds the knockout with the Sacred Hammer, but the damage is not there just yet. Heist with the Blazing Duet takes down the Harif still at the end, and Heist gets away with Daylight Murder. Double kill for the Claude.
A beautiful play by Dreams right there. It looked like RSG was able to counter it because that Revitalize from closer actually healed up a lot. But then the Blazing Duet came in, and now Heist 303 on the Claude. We expressed doubts about this hero pick, and he is already proving us wrong. A 6k lead now for Alter Ego. And things are not looking good. In comparison, Alter Ego just scales way better into the late game.
Heist, how do you catch him, right? Look at closer. Oh my god, he's melting.
Wow, okay.
Cutting like hot knife through butter. Another implosion closer, he is gone. That's the Blazing Duet. Heist, untouched, uncontested. A knockout for the Eternal Guard. It's a killing spree for Roundel. Another full combo, follow up by the counter engage from Gear, but Heist is still a problem that needs to be addressed. They cannot get rid of him. And unfortunately, RSG Singapore have just ran out of life force. Alter Ego finds 3 kills.
It was a good frigid glacier though. Yunsky basically saved RSG SG there. If he didn't catch like 3 or 4 members of Alter Ego in that and set up the stun into Gear's damage, then Alter Ego would have been able to pick off most of them while still remaining alive to push into that inhibitor and maybe even get the Lord. So for now, RSG are able to keep themselves in the game. But the gold is just snowballing out of control. We can see the level difference as well. Gebe just reached level 15 before the 10-minute mark, while Yon is still level 10. We are looking at yet another one-sided game here, this time in favor of Alter Ego.
Yeah, it's a complete demolition. Yon just got the Queen's Wings. So extra durability, but that's the least of the problems. Somehow, even when you look at the damage leaderboard, we at least CS is up there somehow. But I mean, still compared to Heist and Roundel, it's not even close. It's some 10,000 difference.
CS is basically the only thing that RSG can try to play for. We've already seen earlier with Shizo from Lazy Esports that a good Harif can actually dish out a lot of DPS, and as long as he's not controlled, can just win a team fight for you on his own. But Alter Ego are pretty bulky at this stage, and they managed to stop CS from farming efficiently, so Heist is just the one in control just in terms of DPS output. And Alter Ego are making sure their opponents know it. The Lord hasn't even pushed up halfway yet, and they're already trying to siege down the inhibitors, taking away all of the holy defenses.
I mean, if the enemy Claude is 4-0, sub 10 minutes, you know that the game has spiraled out of control. But at least this is just Lord number 1. See the Conceal get used now by Dreams. Bottom inhibitor goes down. Implosion only on the 1. Good Purify from CS. Turning around on the Dreams. Dreams goes down. Eternal Guard knocked out on the tree. But Heist! He's just shredding through them with the Blazing Duet, and once more he gets out. But we got CS on this Harif. Just blew through Gabe's health bar, and CS, like you pointed out, is keeping the game alive. And unfortunately, Heist doesn't have the health bar to fight CS, and CS keeps on going. Roundel flickers to safety. RSG Singapore barely kept afloat by CS.
He just got his Holy Crystal from those pickoffs as well, so that's a very important item spike timing, but is it too little too late? Look at the base. Look at how Heist is just walking in, making them think he wants to try something funny here. We're nearing the 10k gold lead mark. The amount of turret damage that was inflicted just with that last Lord push. RSG Singapore has a lot of heroes that drop off the later the game goes. Alpha doesn't scale too well. Khalid doesn't scale too well. Even Aurora doesn't really output that much DPS. So everything is on the shoulders of CS here. Whereas Alter Ego, they got so many different ways of setting up and dishing out the damage.
Not just that, right? I mean, even RSG Singapore, the way for them to turn this around is probably land some good counter engage combos that we've seen multiple times. Started by Yunsky, and then you got the follower from here and closer. But aside from that, it really comes down to how much damage can CS deal. And even then, he has his limitations. The Zaman Force doesn't stay up forever. He has a limited mana pool. If anything, Alter Ego, they can just take this Lord and in the worst case scenario, not end the game, but get all inhibitors.
Yeah, at this point, getting that last inhibitor is basically guaranteed with the next Lord, right? It's gonna be impossible for RSG to really defend it unless they're able to somehow catch members of Alter Ego off guard. The unfortunate thing is, Alter Ego has a very good teamfight combination. It's a very honest front to back, so their 5v5 is particularly strong. The way that you would want to deal with a 5v5 is try and split them up and then maybe pick them off one by one, but RSG doesn't really have a good pickoff composition either, so they're a little bit stuck. They have to try and beat out Alter Ego in their own game.
Unless you get some magical flicker freeze from Yunsky to start it off, risk might have to be taken. Top inhibitor down, flicker implosion. The counter engage shows up from RSG. SG, CS needs to stay alive. It's him and the world. Nino is just gonna dance around. Unfortunately, AE just overwhelms the base and takes game 1.
Very one-sided coming in here from Alter Ego.